I'm joined by Tom Stoltman, the world's strongest
Finally
man.
got me on, eh?
Yeah, this was going to be episode 1. I think it's episode 13 or 14, so
It's alright. Wait, best till the 14th, innit?
it should be a good one though. I mean, first of all, it's been quite a year. Like the world's strongest man. Like, how does it feel to know that that's it?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I started strongman, you're always gonna want to be the best. Like I said, well, let's go before strongman. Like, obviously, I didn't really know much about strongman. I never really knew much about the gym. Obviously, had a brother Luke who, was to the gym and stuff. But I think a lot of people know football was my life. Like, I loved playing football. I loved all kind of ball sports. I was tall and lanky. Wasn't ever interested in making myself kind of bigger and fitter for girls or for myself really, or strength. So, and because I was so lanky and tall, I thought, right, and skinny, sorry, I won't be. It's impossible for me to do this. Like Luke's got the bulk in him already.
Yeah.
And my wee brother Harry, he had a bit bulky, but me, I was like a twig.
Tall,
yeah,
long.
a Twix, So yeah, and then I kind of knew what strongman was. Later on in a wee bit in life when I got into my teens, because I watched it on TV. I loved watching Dead at Poundstone, Mariusz Puszkanowski. Those two guys were my absolute idols, because I used to buy Flex magazines and all the bodybuilding magazines and wanted to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
The big, I was like, wow, these guys, these are superhuman. These are like superheroes you see on the TV. But then obviously when you see some of the other athletes, the Terry Hollins, Big Z's, they were a bit bigger and fatter back then, and I was like, I don't want to be like that, And then in my head I was like, if I be a strongman, I'm going to be just fat and miserable, and not liking how I look. So, but then I was like, how the hell did Derek Poundstone and Mariusz Puszkanowski get like this? It was like two different scales. It was looked like professionals and like people that had just come off the street or from the pub.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like what it was. But being a kid, obviously, I was always fascinated about the guys with the best physique. So Mariusz Puszkanowski was my hero.
People who looked like they could be in Flex magazine.
Yeah, so I was at Mariusz Puszkanowski. I mean, it was still incredible now to think, like, how did he get that physique and be so strong and so dominant in the sport? So yeah, I kind of watched him, and then I still never really got into strong. I was reading all the kind of Flex magazines, and then started the gym and stuff, blah blah. We'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, and then I kind of started my journey in strongman. I think it was 18 years old, and then since then, when I was 18, I was like, I want to be world's strongest man. But you don't really believe in it. You set monstrous goals, and you're like, you just kind of laugh like an 18-year-old boy coming into this sport. Like, let's just say I'm going to be world's strongest man, and then fast forward kind of 10 years later. I think the thing with me as well is I had Luke to keep me grounded and keep me sane, where a lot of 18, 19-year-old boys would go out partying on the weekends, would do a lot of that kind of stuff, where I wasn't interested in all that. I was just interested in bettering myself, playing sport and being fit.
Yeah.
And then obviously getting into strongman, I kind of had to progress quickly because I had Luke there, and he helped me progress quickly because I was, everybody knows Cerberus Strength, the company, Pete and Callum, who live up in Inverness. It was them two, and then Luke, that were like my training partners. So you think an 18-year-old boy, going in, and these guys are deadlifting 300 plus, so they're so far in front of me, and that was my motivation to keep on going, was I could catch these guys. Whereas if I was training with someone weaker, it would have been like, right, I have to push this guy, but he can't push me. So I think that really helped me. Was within a year I was hitting what Pete and that could hit, which was pretty big for me. And then just got into the sport so quick, matured in the sport so quick, and then fast forward 9 years, I'm world's strongest man. It doesn't feel real, because cool, when you look back at the journey, I've had loads and loads of rough times, and then some good times, but then this being world's strongest man takes away all the rough times and bad times, because it doesn't matter what, the thing is now, being world's strongest man's the pinnacle of strongman. Whoever does their sport and doesn't want to be the best for me is bonkers. Like, why would you put your body through
It's such
hell
a
in
hard
strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding, football if you don't want to be the best? If you you waste all your life to then, I'll be happy at a national level. It's like,
yeah, you've got so much effort goes into it.
Yeah.
You want to. So was it the nest at your dad's, like training in the shed and stuff there? Did you think when you were training in there, breaking the floor, ruining his brand new driveway, doing all that stuff, was that in your head you were going to be world's strongest man by then?
I mean, that's quite a hard one, because I think that was actually, I don't remember too much. I think I had been there for about a year and a half in the sport. That's when I was kind of went down to watch Luke do Scotland's, really got addicted to it. And then obviously I think my mum and dad kitted that shed out, the nest as we called it, for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, got us all the gym stuff and that. But the weird thing is myself and Luke trained there, Harry trained there, but for me, I looked up to Luke and thought, like, Luke's going to be the best in the world, because he was so much superior than me then.
Yeah.
Like, but then I remember I was still hitting like 300k deadlifts. I'm, like I said, progressing fast, and I was just really thinking back then, that I want to do something with the sport, but like having the autism and stuff, I didn't really think too far into the future. Although I said I wanted to be world's strongest man, I never really believed it in myself.
Yeah.
So I was only ever setting like, right, I'm going to be Scotland's strongest man first. I want to be UK's, then go up the ladder.
Yeah.
But then, like, that nest really kind of opened my eyes, because obviously we were training in like floors that were getting broken with the weights. Then we had to do like basically deficit deadlifts all the time, instead of normal deadlifts. The tire that Dad kind of made for the new road.
Yeah, he's still raging about that now.
So like, doing yokes and stuff and that. So training, I think, in that, like, we didn't have the luxury of training like, you get gyms in the city where you can walk in and everything's perfect. The logs are perfect, stones are perfect. We were training in the nest that's like, well, if you look at it, it's tiny.
Yeah.
I don't know how we fitted in there as well. And like, the conditions we trained in were bad, were crap. But that's what makes us better. That's what made me and Luke better, I think, because we didn't just have the luxury of walking up to the gym and going, right, let's do this. Where if people like came up and trained in that gym, they would probably crumble, because they're not used to that atmosphere. They're not used to just being in a shed with a fireplace and nothing else.
It's the
and
same
like
as
hearing birds and owls in the fireplace, and like seeing dust coming down off the roof. You're like, okay, then this is dangerous,
It's the same as like we say with your stones now. Like, the stones you use, like, they're good quality stones. It's not like you're using shit stones, but they're covered in dust, they're dirty, tacky doesn't stick that well. But then when you turn up at a comp and the stones are perfect, it's easy, like, compared to...
Yeah, I mean, you have to always make... I think I learned with, like... so I learned it from football as well, but strongman is, like, you have to make training as hard as you can for you to be better. So, like, if... Like... I mean, when we train, we have like 30 seconds to a minute rest, whereas in comps you get 10, 15 minute rest. But if you rest the same time as you are in a competition, you're never going to get your condition up, you're never going to improve. With stones, like you just said there, we don't clean the stones. You see, we struggle big time in training with stones.
Yeah.
Like, I've hardly ever done a full run, I've hardly done like a lot of reps, because the stones are just covered in crap. But then we know in our head that when we get clean sets, we fly with them. It's the same with like something when we used to do yoke with the gravel at Luke's house. It's like all those kind of things. We make training as hard as we can, so then when we have something flat that's wooden floors and like not broken, on a slope or broken, then when we have when we have the best equipment and best setting, we'll perform better than anyone.
Yeah, because it's better than what you train on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like you've got... It sounds like we're dissing your kit, because you've got incredible kit, but it's like there might be lights in your eyes, like something might be off. You've not gone, we can't train if it's not perfect.
And that's the mindset you don't want, because I used to kind of be like that. I used to be like, right, I don't want to use this bar because it's too hard. Like when you use a bendy deadlift bar, you can pull so much more on it than a stiff bar and an axle bar. But yet, like, people don't want to train on them bars because they're like, right, I want to make it easy in training. Whereas you train an axle bar, like 90% of the time you're going to be able to pull something big on a normal bar. And like, we've only been like that's what we have to do as strongmen. You have to get used to deadlifting on like 3-4 different bars, car deadlifting. You have to, so it's like that's what like we put ourselves in kind of the worst situations for training. So I hardly wear the best of stuff. Even like I just wear shorts. I don't wear like neoprene shorts really when I'm training. I just kind of wear as least supportive stuff as well. So everything just to make sure that when I'm in comp, that's when I'm 100% on it.
Yeah,
so.
And it's worked. Like it's done
well, being well strong man's a good indication.
So we'll sort of go back and forth, but so this year, 2021, the world's strongest man, Tom Stoltman. I was in tears when I saw it. Like the video, picture of you and Luke on the floor, hearing how your dad was, hearing like the whole like everyone was like, I was on the phone to Sinead, everyone crying. I think like Shiv, my partner, was like, like it was such a big thing. Like, did you? Because you said this year was the year you were going to win Worlds. How did it feel being out there? Like, did you know through the whole comp, like, oh, this is mine, like it's my time? Yeah,
well, I think everyone's seen that video in 2019 when I said about my 3-year plan. That I'd get to the final. 2020 I'd come podium, and in 2021 I'd win. And 2019 and 2020 went perfect.
Yeah.
But before I flew over there, I wrote World's Strongest Man 2021. Eddie even pointed that out in interviews. I kind of had that mindset before I even started. Like, on interviews, it's like I'm the best in the world at every event. Like I don't care what group. Like, because you see a lot of people moaning with what groups they get. It's like to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Yeah.
And for me, I was raging at like Lisses and Kletterkalk weren't there because like I wanted to beat them, and because that's for me. I'm hungry to beat the best guys, and because they've been out the sport for so long. Yeah, I'm well strong as man, but like I'm even looking forward now to 2022 where I get to have a nice wee play about with these guys and see what these can do, because like I'm the most hunted strongman right now, and I like that target. And yeah, like I was so confident. I mean, the thing with me is like as well, I always start off slow on Worlds and find my feet, get the food to that kicks in the food and stuff, and then I start progressing and I peak perfectly at forwards. I always peak on these like 3 or 4 day competitions. I always peak on like the finals, and that's what happened this year. I mean, first day of the finals, I can't say too much because it's going to be on TV, but like I blew the competition away, and I thought I thought it was like untouchable. Like I thought nobody in the world could beat me if you put anybody in front of me this time. And they were really bad events for me. Like usually mentally, I'm usually bad at them events. When the pain comes, I stop.
Yeah.
And they were like, I was like, what the heck's happened here? And then the second day, log still hit a decent one, and then deadlift, but like Brian Shaw came back. But at the end of the day, it's how you recompose yourself for the final event, which was stones. And obviously, like what better way to finish a World's Strongest Man event? 2 of the greatest stone lifters in the world. And for me, it was either if Brian Shaw wins, he wins 5. If I win my first. And like nothing was getting in the way of me. And that's the thing. I finished the job off, and like I was basically on top the whole time. Like nobody took over me. I was on top, first place the whole through the final, and that's what people don't understand. Because when you have the 7-8 point lead, people can start people can go, oh, Tom's won it, but it's like you said, it's strongman, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And although Brian Shaw clinked back, I made enough lead to know that I was safe, And like I said, being top the whole way through the final is kind of a cool feeling as well, because nobody touched me, and like, I didn't drop to second or third place. I was consistent, and that's the thing. Consistency wins shows, and you can come first in a event, and then last in the next, you're done.
Yeah, so. And it was a proper, like, you won Worlds. There wasn't like someone else made a mistake. Like, you went out, dominated, and then kept dominating. And because obviously you've been a fan of strongman, like, to go head to head with Brian Shaw in the last event, like that's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, Brian's a blueprint of strongman. What he's done for the sport is unbelievable, and like how he's got the Shaw Classic now, he's just like improving it all the time. And to beat him, it was kind of like I was bittersweet because I felt really bad for him, but also obviously you're going to feel like, because he's a legend in the sport, but then I was like, I've just won my first World's Strongest Man, 27 years old, made loads of history. And I was really hungry for it, because, I think if the comp kept going on, nobody would have bet me that weekend. I was just so focused. I didn't make any mistakes, which was the main thing. The people around me made mistakes, which I jumped on, and for me in that final events, they weren't suited for me. Like, I'm not there's bigger log pressers than me there. There was really good frame walkers and yoke work. There's really good.
I love that you say that there's bigger log pressers.
Turntables, but in that lineup,
the 5th best log in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, as in because say for the turntable stuff as well.
Yeah,
I usually give up on pain, and then
been...
frame as well. I've never really done a frame where I've not dropped. So like those events at the start, you're kind of looking at like, if you were to put me in a position, it'd be 4th or 5th place. In those events. So, and I think those events that I did good in were the ones that like Brian and that slipped down, which gave me that big lead. So I was just consistent, and like when Brian came chasing back after me, I didn't lose my head. I was like, yeah, it is what it is.
It's amazing to see.
It's kind of just kept my head the whole competition and focused on myself.
Yeah, it was honestly like, because like speaking to people who are out there, you and Luke as well, people said like you two were different. Like people said like Tom looked like scary, like he was in a different place. He like grew overnight, like, which is your thing at Worlds anyway. Remember Bish saying the year before where you came second, he spoke to you like one night, and then you walked downstairs, got like 4 bits of cheesecake, went up to your room, came down the next morning, and the top you were wearing the night before didn't fit anymore. And it's like Tom's getting like World's Tom is here. Like, it's a different animal.
That's the thing. Like, I really involved when World's Strongest Man comes on. Because I loved, like you said, the 4 or 5 day events. I like being out there 5 days before and getting myself acclimatized. And I mean, because like for me at Worlds, I just stay in my room. I don't go to the buffet. I don't why. I don't get why athletes, if they've got a diet, then go to a buffet and change it up to like fish and stuff, because like
eat what you eat.
Yeah, like you eat. So that's why I spend money. If you're never going to win World's Strongest Man if you don't invest in yourself. And like I spent nearly like $300-400 a day out there on food, but I knew that I was going to win World's Strongest Man as soon as I landed there, and that's why I did that. I wasn't worried for any money that I was spending, and I did that. I did like the 5 guys and chips. I had lasagnas. I had the cheesecakes. What Nathan said, I ate. And 4 days before the show, or 5 days before the show, being out there, I was just getting heavier, stronger. By the time the qualifiers came, felt great. By the time the final came, I was at my peak and ready to like rip people's heads off. And like I said, people could see it, but it's just because I peaked so well. And I think that's what some athletes don't do, is like they're scared to waste money, invest money. Like Nathan is the best nutritionist in the world, and he's proved it time and time again. So I don't know why.
I don't even know how many titles he's coached now.
I don't know why strongmen or people from our sports go to him, even though he's a lot of money. It's like, you want to be the best, invest in him, and the rewards come. So like, if you want to just be second or third best, go to someone that gives you second or third best results. So because when I went to Nathan, I didn't have all the money in the world, but I talked to him, he understood, and like he understood. Yeah, it's worth it. It's like, he was with Martins for a year, he won World's Strongest Man. He was with me for a year, he won World's Strongest Man. It's kind of,
it's nuts.
It's kind of like, well, you can't really put it into any kind of words. That it's not just like, I thought the Martins thing would have been a fluke, but he did it with me, so it's not a fluke. So.
And it's like, from my point of view with coaching you, I know that you're going into every session, you'll feel 100%. You can push hard, you can recover. Your recovery outside of the gym is on point, like with the cold water.
I mean, with like, you see, even like Brian Shaw as well as a blueprint for Nathan, because like he left Nathan, and then my eyes went downhill.
Oh, massively.
And now he went and look at him this year at World's Strongest Man. He had everything nailed, and he came second place. So it's kind of like, for me, you don't change thing that's not broken. And like, if Brian stayed with Nathan, he could have dominated even more. But it maybe what would have changed. But like, for me, I couldn't leave Nathan now. Same with you, I couldn't leave you now, like, because it's got this team. Like, if I left Nathan, it would be the most probably worst decision of my life, because like what he's done to me already. So It's just weird that people don't want to invest in themselves, which is a weird one for me. Like, I wanted to do this sport, like I said, when I was 18, 19, I've spent thousands and thousands on the sport. So
Yeah, it's
and like,
not cheap.
what do you get in return? World's strongest man. I mean, it's worth it, innit? So
Yeah,
I think is I don't need to do this sport anymore if I don't want to. Like,
yeah,
you know, you get the things like, because you get people saying, oh, like, oh, you won world's strongest man, you need to go win units, you need to go win some Giants live comps. Like, no, I don't. You know, like, I won the pinnacle of the sport. There's only 5 people in Britain that have won worlds, and there's people that have been doing this sport their whole life and haven't won this title.
yeah.
And I'm one of the guys that have won it. So
Only one guy a year can win it.
yeah, so it's like you either do loads of comps or train for the biggest comp of the year. Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's nice that I could win world's strongest man and prove a lot of people like that I could do it as well. So
Yeah. So growing, because did you grow up in the house where your dad is now?
yeah.
And that was, so for people who don't, like, you're all fairly open about it, but for people who don't know, there's you and Luke, who are professional strongmen, Harry, and then 2 sisters.
Yeah.
What's the order of you?
So it's Harry,
Is the youngest?
youngest, myself, Nikki, Jodie, Luke.
Okay, so did you bring Harry into it at all, do you think? Or was he interested? Or, you know, when you were younger, like, what was it like?
Well,
'Cause it's
before I
quite
went to the gym?
Yeah, it's quite a big family.
No, I mean,
what
like, that's the thing. Like, so obviously, I'll touch on autism just now as well, because a lot of people don't get that. Like, I didn't like Luke. I didn't like Harry. I didn't like my sister Nikki when I was younger.
No.
Like, if I could, I would have ran away with just my mum and Jodie. Like, that's how bad I was. Like, because the thing is now, people see myself and Luke and Harry so close with each other, but when I was younger with autism, like, I didn't have time for them, you know, like,
Really?
not in that bad way, but just my mind was like that, you know. I was closest probably to Harry. Well, I was closer to my sister Jodie because she was learning about autism for me, so she understood me the most. But then, like, I got resented obviously by like Luke, Harry, and Nikki and that, because I was getting more support from my mum and dad.
Yeah.
And then that got them really annoyed, so that would then take out on me. So then, like, I'd be like, why are they doing that? Because I thought that was normal, obviously, in my mind. So, yeah, like, having like a childhood like that was very hard for me, because, like, obviously my dad worked away as well, like 8-9 months of the year, going to like Brazil, all over the world, and so, like, even my dad kind of felt like I didn't really have much of a relationship when I was younger, just because he was away all the time. And for me, I needed like people I could trust in my support kind of system, and I would never say kind of anything to dad, or like whenever he came on at home, it would be like I'd misbehave a lot, because he was just like a guy that's come into my life, which is like really hard to say, because like obviously we're really close now, but that was just how it was, and that's how I fought back then, because I've seen my mum every single day of my life, I see my sister Jodie every day of my life, and then it was like, right, these two are the ones that I go to,
and you can trust them.
Yeah, I can trust. Harry was my wee brother, so like we were bantering back and forth, but like I do WWE with Harry, but I do it for real. So I like batter him, and like I put him in hospital a few times. I made my sister run away from home. You know, I've done a lot of kind of things that when you look back, it's you just couldn't help it. You know, that's how my brain fought. And I think I never really got Harry into anything. I mean, I forced Harry to play football with me, so I forced him to come to my football club and play football, because that's all I knew was football. That was my get out this world. Like, football was my thing I relaxed with. Everything football, like I said, even playing it on the computer was the only thing that would get me through like childhood. So then I got Harry into that, but I never ever got him in like interesting ways. I think he just did it himself. Like, you can't force, because like I kind of got forced into it, which usually for autistic people is a very, very bad thing to do. Very bad. Like, they go the opposite way. I did that a lot as well. Like, if I got forced to do something, I would just crack up. But I don't know what happened there. I just got forced by Luke and just kept going. And I think it might have just been because I was getting a bit older, you know. But yeah, I never really got anyone into anything, you know, because my life was just like me and everybody trying to support me and help me. And then obviously, like I said, that took a lot of time away from the other siblings, because my mum and dad had to put a lot of effort into making sure I had everything I wanted, because, like, you know, I was a very kind of hard work. Like I was hard work as a child, you know. So.
Yeah. Did you? It's quite a weird one to ask, but did you understand that you were different, or did you think everyone else was different? If that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because I think I got diagnosed with autism quite early, but I didn't like before I got diagnosed. From my childhood that I can remember, I don't use I can't remember all my childhood because I don't want to remember it, so I don't.
Yeah.
But like from what I remember is like I just acted that not as for normal for me. Like my mum and that would say people would stare, but I never really seen them because I had like my head down, like fingers in my ears and like just flipping things. So like I didn't see people look at me. I just thought this is normal in my brain. I'm going to do it. But then in my house, like Harry would be in his room, I'd be in my room. Luke would be maybe out with his mates and stuff. So we didn't really see each other. So like I wasn't as bad in the house. But maybe if like someone came over or like Harry wanted something that I couldn't have, that would be when it was really bad. And like it would, so that was kind of, I mean, it was hard. It was kind of hard because even my mum was like, before he got diagnosed, like, why is Tom like this?
Yeah.
And I question your son's quite a bad thing. And then like even to get diagnosed, I had to record, like they had to record me doing my behaviours. Like in, I think I got diagnosed. I can't remember when, but anyway, I have CDs of the recordings they had to take off me, like the stuff I was doing in schools and stuff as well, which is sad because no one would believe me I had autism, or they would believe my parents. They would just thought, oh, he's just a like bad kid, you know, like he's come from the countryside and stuff, like he's this bad kid. Which for me, teachers, like I don't care what they're saying this, but teachers for me are the worst people to be around with when your kids got autism and they're in a mainstream school with other like 35 people in the class that are normal. Yeah. Because you get treated like you're in like shit. Like you get treated like shit. They're basically bullies. For me, it's not the pupils that are bullies, it's the teachers that bully you. Because like, you know, like I got put to the front of the class so they could keep an eye on me, and I had all the other people's eyes on me. I got picked on a lot to answer questions. I would panic. I would walk out the class, you know, so they wouldn't like appreciate my feelings.
They just didn't understand.
Yeah, so for me, like, you know, if I look, because everyone says, you know, kids should stick into school and stuff, but like having autism, I didn't care about school. Like I can admit that I didn't care about school. I was never wanting to be in school. I was like first year in and out of school, second year in and out, third year in and out, loads of support, did lots of school work at home, failed nearly all my grades as well. It was PE that was the only one that was, you know, wanting, but like it's the way they kind of get into your mind to think that if you don't do school, you're never going to be anything in life. And for normal people, they can shake that off and go, like, my dad's been better. Like, but for me, because of autism, I stuck with that, and I was like, right, these teachers are saying that I'm failing everything. I'm getting really like stressed and like getting really, my autism playing up big time because they're saying all this and I'm failing everything. So what do I do, you know? Yeah. And then I would go home with my like family and take out on them and stuff. So
because you feel like you're failing, like, and
teachers give you a bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I had really good support teachers, and some of the teachers were good, but there is some that like really do that put that pressure on you, and they don't understand how autism works because I look like a normal guy, you know?
Yeah, that's, I think, a thing that people really don't understand with autism, or like any other like mental issue, is that you look, I mean, other than being massive, you look like a normal guy. Like, you've not got a disability. Like, if someone had one leg or, you know, something like that, you could go, that's kind of the worst thing about even being back to school back there and all, because like physically you had to be disabled for them to be like, right, that's you disabled. But like, because I didn't look it, like I said, they just thought I was a bad kid and they wouldn't give me that extra treatment, and before I could get everything filmed, they didn't believe me. So it's like, well, I'm not just going to say I'm like, why would I say I'm disabled? Like, that a kid would never want to hear that. Like, I never want to hear, like, if I had a kid and they were like, I put them to school at 9, 10 and they had autism, and the kid teacher said, he's not disabled. It's like, you know, why would I make my kids disabled? You know, it's kind of, so it is a very kind of subject that still to this day people don't understand, because they can't physically see the disability, that they don't like treat you as a disabled person, you know. Like, and I am, because the thing is, I am disabled. The thing is, I could get like I could like claim disability if I wanted to. Like, it's not like you're not making it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, autism is it like I could claim disability. I could I could get a blue badge for my car. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I could get all that kind of stuff, but I'm not doing that because I don't want to do that. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. I'm just trying to make the point that like you don't have to be physically disabled to be disabled. You know.
Yeah.
And that's the really hard thing as well, because you know, like, when you see people like with autism and you meet them and stuff, and they look like me and like normal, and then you know, like, people go, "You're not disabled." It's like,
yeah.
what? Like, why would you say that to him? You know, or you know, like whenever I see someone with autism, I say, "No, you got the superpowers." You never say to a kid, "Oh, how does it feel having autism?" or "How does it feel being disabled?" That's two words that a kid never wants to hear. You know,
No,
and it is a hard one. Even in today, like, it's even said, like, being 10 years on and stuff, it's still really hard for teachers to understand how to speak to an autistic guy.
Because I suppose they only see the behaviours of it, and if you're a teacher who doesn't really care, because like you hear, I think I was listening to a podcast about it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's like a professor, and he says like teachers always say that the kids are bad, but they never say that they're bad. Like,
they put the blame on the kids all the time.
yeah, and if you see like the behaviours of someone like with autism, when like you're having a like, whatever you want to call it, if you're having a bit of a freak out, like, if you don't understand autism, you think, fucking hell, this kid's like a nightmare.
Yeah.
But not like in your brain at that moment, that's just what you need to do to deal with.
That's why when I was younger, I went to these like place games that had the like other kids that like had the worse stuff than me as well, and I went there and I felt comfortable because the people that were there were supporting you knew autism. You know, even though I was physically not, I was one of the able ones, I still got treated like, you know, like they asked me what I wanted to do, what I liked. I still had to have some support time when I went kind of sad and that, so they understood me still. Whereas, like you said, in schools and stuff, it's just, you know, you understand because there could be like 3 disabled people, autistic guys, to like 50, and they obviously have to have that balance. But like, if they can't find that balance, don't make the people with the autism or the invisible.
You've not found the balance.
Yeah, so that's like, the kind of, so teachers always put the blame on it. You know, I've experienced that in school. I'm not just making it up. You know, I've experienced teachers going mental at me and like blaming me for like my behaviours and autism and stuff. So
yeah,
it's quite a hard thing to kind of, like I said, hear back then. You know, so
yeah. Do you? Because you've said before when we've spoke about stuff that you've had a teacher who said like you just won't amount to anything. Looking back, do you think that was, at the time, it's obviously a really shit thing to say to a kid, but probably one of the reasons you've won World's Strongest Man as well.
Yeah, I mean, I keep using that as a example. You know, every interview I do. I mean, like, their life must have been that bad that they said that to
like a child.
People, you know, and for me, I laughed. I can laugh now because at the end of the day, their life's probably still miserable in that school they're at and still doing a job they don't like. You know, obviously they don't like doing their job. If there was a PE teacher or something, or something like that. So, like, you know, I'm the world's strongest man of my own business, and I enjoy work. I can wake up anytime I want to work. I don't have to deal with thousands of pupils, you know, where they do, which means they're depressed. So, you know, I just laugh at their faces. You know, I like it now because I can turn around and laugh. And, you know, some teachers have congratulated me and I've turned my back to them because they just want to know me now because I'm the world's strongest man.
Yeah, because
like,
you're a name.
No teachers have kind of ever really said to me like, "Oh, Tom, how you keeping?" And then, like, a few years later when I win stuff, "Oh, congratulations." They just want you straight back when you win something. Yeah. Which is not I've never been in that person, you know. It's like, if you want me, you need to know me and be my friend from the Tom in school to the Tom till I'm dead, you know. So
yeah, it's not just we can get something out of him,
man, you know.
Do you think? So you've grown up quite a big family. You were sort of looked after mostly by your mum and Jodie. Was it? So you promised your mum you'd win World's Strongest Man, and you know that because I've spoke to your dad about it, that your dad knew you were going to win World's Strongest Man. Like, he said, like, we're a few whiskies deep, but he was saying like he would shout for Luke as well because your mum would be there, like, unconditional support for Tom, and like he was at, I've got to shout for Luke. Were you aware that, because people see you and Luke as one person basically, but when do you think you started to, be individual athletes and like have that separate support? Like your mum would be pushing you on, and
before my mum passed away, that's the thing. Like, I think we were kind of individual then because we didn't have a business, and like I was still up and coming.
Yeah.
Luke was only still at like kind of Britain and UK level. Obviously, he had won 5 kind of Scotland's strongest man, and then I was always kind of chasing his heel. Then like it turned around to me winning the 2. So
yeah,
I mean, we've always kind of had that support, but I don't think we've really kind of like buzzed off each other and stuff since the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, since our first World's Strongest Man, that's when we kind of used it and like came together and like that shell and just used all the energy and really kind of made it powerful, and made it like advantage to us and stuff. Because like obviously like thing with my mum and stuff, like she seen Luke win 5 Scotland Strongest Man. She didn't see me win anything. They came to all our competition. They were really massive supporters, obviously. But yeah, I think my mum, she supported both of us. But obviously, because I was the kid with autism and she was probably the one that babied me the most, and like, I was a mummy's boy. She probably wanted me to see something. I mean, when you're like other sons won 4 titles, you're kind of like, well,
he's doing all right. Like
kind of like Tom coming second to him now the last few years. When's he going to do it? So yeah, so for my mum not to see me win anything was kind of hard for me as well, because I was like, crap, I've not won a title yet. So yeah, but I think when we started coming, the first World Strongest Man, we started bonding then, and then that's when we went up together instead of individually. We both improved, and we've both improved every year since.
Yeah, it's been sort of domination time starting, and it's amazing. It's fucking ridiculous to be a part of, but it's amazing to see as well. Like, you guys are just pushing forward and constantly pushing. And do you think, it's a hard one to phrase, but do you wish like commentators and interviewers and stuff would see you as Tom Stoltman and then see Luke as Luke Stoltman, rather than asking you every competition how Luke's going to do, asking Luke every competition how Tom's going to do?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think people have just got into their head that we both have to turn up to a show together and we both have to answer different questions for each time. It's like the first time we made that clear was at World's Strongest Man this year. But I said I'm not answering questions on Luke, and Luke's not answering questions on me, and they didn't answer questions, which was really nice because we were answering questions on ourselves. If someone's asking me about Luke, I'd be like, well, why don't you ask Luke yourself? At the end of the day, we're brothers, but like, it's Luke's training, it's Luke's life. Like, you're interviewing me, you're not interviewing. It's like you asking me questions like for the next hour about Luke. I'd be like, I'll phone Luke and come down and see that. So it gets annoying because there's a brother element to it, but you have to keep that separate. You have to keep separate as well. Yeah. And I think the interviews are a big thing. I think a lot of people are guilty for that. It's like they always mention Luke in it, or like, a lot of people ask me like about, well, I'll probably ask Luke about how does it feel about your brother winning worlds, and me, how does it feel like Luke winning Europe? So I was like, yeah, it's good, but ask Luke, like, Jesus. Yeah. Like, obviously I'm going to say I'm happy for him, but I didn't win it either, so I'm wanting to win it. But ask Luke how he feels, Like, I don't know how Luke feels after winning Europe's. And he'll be the same with me, like, yeah, Tom must be happy. Like, he just won worlds. It's like, what kind of question is that to ask your brother, where you could just ask the person direct? So that does get quite annoying, because you see it on everyone. Like, even a lot of, like, YouTube pages now as well, they always make out me and Luke are together, which we are, but at the end of the day, we're still separate people. I'm Tom, he's Luke.
And you compete
we
against
compete, like,
each
we
other.
don't compete as Stoltman brothers.
No.
The announcement doesn't go on, like, next up from Scotland, Stoltman brothers. He competes as Luke, I compete as Tom. Yeah. So that's how it should be out through the competition. That's how it should be through the interviews, through the comps, through the mid whatever interviews through the comp, and then afterwards as well. And then when we get, like, after the comp's all over, then we can go back together as that. But for me, it should be. I think it's just a bad habit, to be honest with you. I think it's because since the first Worlds, when we like became the strongest brothers to ever live, I think that's just people now just call us that because we're like a brand now, you know. But yeah, we're a brand, but we're individuals as well, you know. So
yeah, I think it's interesting because no one would ever go up to like Mateus and go, "Oh, how's Martin's getting on today?" Like no other athlete they wouldn't go like.
It's just I've never heard like other athletes kind of. I've asked athletes, people do their predictions and stuff. Yeah, I get that, but like I've watched interviews before. I've never seen, like I said, I've never heard someone like say like Bishop going like, "How do you think Tom or Luke's going to do?" You know, like they'll say like he might mention us in a like, "Oh, our big rivals." Like that's all right, but not actually physically. So like, yeah, it does get annoying. You know, but it is one of them things. It's kind of. You know, I just want to be me in interviews, and I just want Luke to be him. And like, if they want to ask us questions together, get us in the room together. Yeah, and we can be Stoltman brothers then. And if you want separate interviews, that's when you ask me my questions, Luke his questions. You know.
Yeah, no, that's how it should be. It sort of makes sense. It's weird that people wouldn't. It makes sense that they want to do it because
brothers.
Yeah, but it's strange that you're individual athletes, so you should be treated like that. So so you were 18 when you started Strongman. Was that the point when you were like, were you focused on Strongman? Like, were you out partying? I mean, say that you weren't still out partying, but like, when did you make the decision that you could win worlds if you put this effort in?
Like I said, so when I started at 18, I didn't really think much of it in the future because like I think Luke put me into Scotland Strongest qualifier. Yeah. You know, I did so my first competition, Scotland Strongest Man, I think I came 5th. I won the Highland Strongest Man, came 5th at Scotland's, made Luke win the title. So then that's me got the bag, and then I just kind of kept training, and I was still enjoying myself. I mean, an 18-year-old boy, like I could just put my life on hold. Although I kind of actually, I actually went a bit obsessive with strongman where I did put my life on hold. Yeah. So I did kind of like sacrifice friends. Obviously, I had a wife. I met Sinead when I was 18 as well. So I met her, and then had to introduce her into the sport, and then also, I stopped my life basically for strongman, which back then for me was the worst idea of my life because I got too involved into the sport. That's when I started like doing junior comps and really performing bad, not performing like I should have been. People talking about me like, oh, he's going to be the next big thing. Ended up coming last in comps. So then I just started having a balance. Well, not a balance, but I started just like enjoying being time with Sinead because it was kind of my first girlfriend. I enjoyed doing stuff with Sinead. I was just maybe like 19 years old. I started kind of living my life a bit better and doing strongman, but never ever thought strongman would get serious. Yeah, like I thought I could get maybe UK British level like Luke did, but then like I'd go out with my friends still, do the stuff I loved, and just have strongman there. Like I was at a job still. I didn't think I'd be able to quit a job, and then I think it was from like 19. Everything just went quick, very quick, you know. So
because you sort of exploded into strongman, and then there was a year where you had a really bad Brits performance. I remember.
Yeah, it was last. I came last in Brits,
and then
that's again with I put everything on hold for strongman. I had to then reevaluate it, and I did reevaluate and came back stronger and bigger.
Yeah, because you like exploded onto the scene, and then people were like, "Oh, there's too much pressure on him. He's losing comps," and then you just came back and were like, "Oh no, I'm gonna like re-explode."
Yeah, so that was the best thing. Like I said, the Britain thing that happened to me because I reevaluated it mentally, reevaluated physically, and then. But I think also having Luke pushing me into these big comps because you see a lot of athletes still to these days that do comps they're comfortable with. Yeah, I didn't like that, because like I could have been junior level all the way up to 23, but I stopped it before that because I was in the opens as well. I was doing juniors and opens, so and a lot of other ones weren't doing it. So I think having Luke really kind of helped me to mature as well, like I said, in the sport as well, because I was up against like Terry Hollands, Lawrence Chalets, Eddie Halls at 19 years old. Like it's like, so geez, I'm against these guys where I could go win an easy comp on a junior level. Yeah, but I think being around their presence for that long, I then got adapted to them, knew them kind of inside out as well. Yeah. So it started giving me like I could start reading them and knowing what their events were and all that kind of stuff. So I think I learned the sport quick and adapted to it really quick as well. So
yeah, it's sort of the superpower side of autism is if you feel like you belong around these people, you become that sort of professional strongman.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that's who you are now. Like, you do a lot of other stuff, like going to the football all the time, and not all the time, but like going to the football
That's
a
one
lot,
thing that
doing stuff like you enjoy doing. But like, you're still here to win worlds next year. You're still here to win the comps you want to win. You're going to put 100%
Yeah, I think people need to
effort
understand
in.
that comp thing, because like so I won World Strongest Man, and then my next comp after was Royal Albert Hall. But I think people expect you to win every comp you do.
Yeah.
And like Royal Albert Hall's a good one, but like, why would what would Royal Albert Hall get me? You know, in that kind of sense of thing, where like it wouldn't put me in extra place in the world.
Yeah.
It's not going to make me any worse or better as an athlete. You know, so when I did that, and then like obviously, then thing is, because I've only competed Bahrain, Worlds, Royal Albert Hall, Glasgow 4 times this year.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not. And then Royal Albert Hall wasn't really competing; it was just turning up. So like
that was.
So like yeah, so like, but like a lot of like comparison, I think they have to win every do every competition and stuff, and you know, for me, it's like I said, World's Strongest Man should always be in the key thing. Like, you know, someone could be a 10-time British champion, and I could not win if I don't like, I might not win British in 20 years I'm in the sport, but if I won Worlds once, what's our more powerful title?
Yeah,
and like look at Eddie Hall, he won Brits 5 times, but he won Worlds and then quit because he knew Worlds was the pinnacle of the sport. Like, you didn't really need to be like, oh, I won Worlds, I want to go win like all these other comps that are lower than Worlds.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's nice to have Europe's and Britain's Strongest Man and stuff, but like Worlds is still up there, you know. So I think that's what a lot of people need to learn as well. It's like I said, I pick and choose the comps, and that's what people need to realise, that, you know, it's like I went to Glasgow to win. Obviously that thing happened with the Stones is out of my thing, but I was back to who I was before Worlds.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time off doing maybe the wrong things and stuff, but at the end of the day, winning World's Strongest Man, anything in the world would do that. I think people say they wouldn't do it because they've never won Worlds, and that's a different thing. You're like, when you win Worlds, you're on such a high. You're like, out of all the billions of people in the world, you're the strongest man.
And so much weight off your shoulders,
and so like
for years.
So when people don't, because people don't have that like trophy or that accomplishment, they kind of judge you how you do then in your next comp. It's like I got judged at Bahrain, you know, before Worlds, saying like I was too big, wasn't fit, 5th and 6th place. I was like, I'm here for Worlds.
Yeah.
What did I do at Worlds? You know, so I like talked on what the what, and Glasgow 2nd place, and then, you know, I'm gonna go to Britain's. I'm gonna go all out to win as well. So, you know, like when the comps I want to win at, I can focus on, but the ones I don't, I tend to take a step back and go, I'm having fun. Yeah. But then that's where people then go like fans or other athletes go, oh, he's losing it. Why? Is Tom just a one-trick pony? It's like, well, if I go win Worlds again, what will you say? You know,
if
like,
you're a one-trick pony, but that trick is winning Worlds.
It's like,
stick with it.
So that's that's the thing that you need to. That's what people don't really understand as well. Is like, you know, I've seen it this year where like I'll put like Bish in that group and Gavin Bilton, like they've burnt out. Like Gav burnt out after Wales. Adam Bishop burnt out after the Shaw Classic. For me, it's like, being a pro strongman's good, but you need to be smart. And there was no way I would do like Shaw, then Europe's, then it was Glasgow. Yeah. Like 3 comps in a row, and
in like 5 weeks as
figures as well. For me, Europe's is a big competition. Yeah. Like Shaw Classic's big, but for European people, it's Europe's is the one. So like, you know, you pulled out Shaw Classic, pulled out Glasgow, do Europe's. So it's kind of them kind of things, and like I would rather come last in Glasgow than come like 5th or 6th in Europe, you know, because Europe's a big comp. So that's the difference where like you need to pick and choose your comps. Like there's all these world tours at Giants, which are an amazing thing, but like you can't do them all. Like no, and it's stupid if you do them all, because you're just gonna go like this each competition, you know. Yeah. And you can't perform to your best of ability. So I think fans and like other people need to realise that like I've won World's Strongest Man. Yeah. I know what it takes to win World's Strongest Man. and only 5 other people in Britain know what it takes to win World Strongest, or 4 other people in Britain, I think, know what it takes to win World Strongest Man. Nobody else does because they've never been there, you know, and that is the truth as well, because I've done it, you know, like when I worked hard for that, was it 10 weeks prep we had?
Yeah, 10, 12 weeks.
Yeah, so I had 10 weeks prep of solid training, and I felt invincible, you know, and I can switch my mindset when I want to do something, I'll do it, you know. I had a week and a half prep for Glasgow, came second place, broke like 9 reps, and so I felt strong after COVID as well. So, you know, it's kind of like, those are the things that people, when my mindset's on it, nobody in the world will beat me, and that's what they have to realise as well. So yeah, I think do many comps, and you have to pick and choose the ones you win, or else you're just going to be,
just burn
your
out. Your
career's not going to be long, you know.
That's sort of touches on, from my point of view, it makes it a pain in the arse, but like Luke at Europe's, I said, like, the only person in the world I could imagine beating the Luke who turned up at Europe's is you. And the only person who I could ever imagine beating the you who turned up at Worlds or at Glasgow is Luke. And it's like, there's this fucking force between you and both of you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just...
The thing is as well, because I get excited, but I also grounded, because I know, like, Kletterkalk and Martins ain't back yet, and when they're back, and it's a mix of Novikov, me, Luke, Martins, Kletterkalk, you know, JF Crons, those guys, then and if we can mix it with them guys, then we know, because like obviously, like, you know, Kletterkalk came second at Loose, which is incredible, you know.
And Novikov won another comp.
Yeah, and Novikov won another comp, but Kletterkalk's just come back and only lost by a point, so you know, Kletterkalk is 100%. He takes over Novikov in my eyes. Yeah. And the thing with Kletterkalk as well, he's never won Worlds, so it's kind of like he's the best probably loser of Worlds, if that makes like. So like I can't. That's something I want to go out to. You know, I want to go out to Worlds next year, and
you want to make a point,
because I want to beat the best, and in the sport I want to beat the best. You know, I bet Brian Shaw this year. I want to beat Martins in that next year. You know, Martins deserve to win, but I generally believe, when I'm 100%, I'm stronger than anyone. So and it's like that's the same. That's what I want to be like. I want to have the best like 25 on the same playing field, and go to battle then. You know, because you can't get like, you know, Glasgow was good standard, Worcester was good standard, but the best weren't around. You know, so
they're sort of the best were doing 2 comps.
Yeah, so it's like with the Worlds, that's when you can actually see, right?
Yeah, I think
let's shut up and play, and let's see who wins.
It's going to be amazing to see, because, like, looking at the groups from Worlds, and, like, some groups were harder than others, some groups were easier, with big fucking air quotes, because everyone at Worlds is hard. Yeah. But it's like, if you want to win World's Strongest Man, you've got to beat everyone there anyway.
Yeah, 100%. I said
like, beat them in the groups.
Like when I came second, it's like people were moaning about the groups. I was like, put me in any group you want.
Yeah,
like,
any group, any event.
Because if you're not the best out in group stages, you have an easier final.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to have the easy groups and then be like, oh, I have to now face these guys in the final? You know, you do your hard bits in the qualifier. Qualifier is always the hardest.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, because it's all about strategy and, I'm going to do this, that, you know. Whereas
so
the
we
finals
do one more rep here.
Yeah, so, but like, for me, the qualifiers are the hardest, and the finals when you can actually release and let like everything go and boom, you know,
just do strong
perform, you know. So
yeah, no, it's going to be. I cannot wait. Like, I'm buzzing about next year's Worlds. I'm really looking forward to watching this year's on telly as well.
Yeah, I think that because you can analyse that as well a bit, because that's what I said. I don't think I was 100% at Worlds this year. My mind was going on and off. There were some events I could have done better at, so to think that I can prove it's good, you know, as well. And like, you know, I've not had a proper battle with Novikov in a while, because we've not been doing the same amount of comps and doing different comps. So it's even hard saying, like, you know, when people say like at the end of the year we're gonna see who's the most dominant in strongman right now, it's like that doesn't really make any sense, because Novikov's done different, I've done different, Luke's done different, and you know, it's like, so it's kind of like, well, who's got the most prestigious title?
Yeah, and
that's the thing, you know, like, that's what I was saying earlier, like, Novikov could win 7 titles, Luke could win 4 titles, I could win 1, but my one's world strong, and like, you know, that's what everybody wants. That's when you put your name to like a sponsor or something, or like Dan's Europe's Strongest Man, Luke's Europe's Strongest Man, Dan won Glasgow, Novikov World Strongest Man 2020. What are you, Tom? World Strongest Man 2021. Oh, well, we'll take you then. You know, like, that's the powerful of it. So that's kind of where it's like more with prestigious wise. I know that I'm the most hunted guy right now because I've got the title that every single strongman wants, and it's just being at the top. I don't want to give that away, so they can come hunting, but they're not going to get it. So.
Yeah, it's like we were saying earlier. Like obviously with boxing, you've got to, if you lose, you give the belts back. But like that sort of way, people don't realise in strongman because you get to keep a trophy, but that title disappears.
Yeah.
Like Eddie did phenomenally, but he's not world's strongest man. Like he was world's strongest man. Like Kaz was world's strongest man. Right now, you are world's strongest man. You win next year, you get another year of it. Luke wins, he gets a year. Mateus wins, he gets a year.
Yeah.
But the year after, it resets. And I think the only way to really have it, you know, like that forever level is to win 5 and be like, that's it, I'm the greatest who's ever lived. Like, what?
That's what Shaw's got right. Puskanovski's got right now.
Yeah.
Because he is the greatest right now.
Yeah.
Because no one's beat his record, you know. Until his record's beaten, people need to keep fighting. So
you going to beat it?
Yes.
Oh, sound. Yeah, that's good. That's 5 more years' work for me at least. That's
or draw with it at least and then just call it a quit.
Because I've been like super open about it that I firmly believe you could win as many World's Strongest Man titles as you can be bothered to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the thing is, strongman's a selfish sport, you know, and I've been selfish the last 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's why I did that thing in free. I wanted to win worlds sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And you have to then think, you know, in the back of your head as well. Like I know I've got my wife Sinead. I want kids. She wants kids, and like you could keep on winning. Like it could keep doing strongman, keep doing winning titles, but then I could be 36, 37 years old and be like, right, I've done what I want in strongman. Fuck, what about my life?
Yeah.
And it's quite too late, you know. You're 37 years old. You're kind of
have kids at 30 though.
Yeah, but like it's quite hard then to be like, you know, 37, 38. You're basically like an older kind of man then. You know? And that's kind of like, so you know, it's all about. I could be the greatest of all time. I know I can be, but it's more like, do I put my body through all that, or do I win it like do I be satisfied with doing back to back, and then walking away from Worlds and going right, or 2 or 3 times and being like, right, now let's have a kid and take a year off strongman, because like I want to retain the title, then after retaining it,
then you need the 3-peat. You need to get the hat trick.
Yeah, well, I mean, like after retaining it, that's my decision. Then that I've been talking to Shane is like, I could retire for a year and go away, because kids motivate me like mad. Like I think if I had a kid, that would then make me even more hungry. Like if I took a year off strongman, have a kid, and came back, I would be so happy, because I would want to be like that, like
make them proud. And
and I would, like my nieces and nephews jump up and down and everything, and when they come, like they call me Superman, show me muscles, I'm like, wow, I want my kid to do that. So, you know, kids are always in the back of my mind, because, you know, you're getting older and older, and because I've done this thing in the sport, but then it's so hard because you got so many comps, and you get there's a lot of pressure on you to do the comps, you know, whereas kind of when I need to pick that year, we're like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm chilling out, training, getting my food back, and then I'm going to have kids and, you know, enjoy a year of my life. Because taking a year out of strongman doesn't mean nothing. Like I'll still be around, you know, but it's just taking that year off to do something in my life that I wouldn't get the chance to do if I kept going. So
yeah, and it's not like you take a year off strongman. You just take a year off competing.
Yeah.
You'd still be at all the shows.
Yeah.
Still be there for the fans. Still be half of the stuff.
That is one of the things like I've been really hard talking about is, you know, kids, because after World Strongest Man, I said I was going to just not do any more comps in a year and then try for a kid. But then I started obviously drinking and partying, following Rangers a lot around Scotland. But then like the drinking was bad, so it was affecting me anyway. So I was like, well, nothing's going to happen. So I just, you know, I want then to get because like the season ends in October. So that's when I'm going to sit down and be like, right, what do I do for next year? Like, do I wait and not do nothing till Worlds or 2 months before Worlds, or do I like train for Worlds from say January time till May, do Worlds, and then
have the
have
rest
the rest
off
of the year
and-
off. So I see it is a hard one because I want kids, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just a decision because you can be selfish, but like I've been selfish, like I said, for 10 years. I wanted to be selfish for Worlds, but now I've won Worlds. I don't think I need to be as selfish.
Yeah.
But I think I still need to now put Sinead in front because I've done what I've wanted to do.
Yeah,
Like
it's
if
more give and
winning
take.
one title
rather
is mental, you know. Like
than-
for me, being autistic, being 27 years old, I just kind of like, well, I just beat normal guys. Like
yeah,
that's what and like that's the thing nobody believed in. To do that, and you're like, right, I've done one title. What could I do now? Have a year off, or go back to back, and then have a year off. You know, go out on a high again, and then go have a
Yeah.
year off to like just celebrate, enjoy life. Like I said, try and have kids and do that. You know.
yeah, and you're in a position where you're young enough that you could do all of it. Like it's not like you've got to go. I'm having time off. That's the end of strongman.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It's yeah,
But it's just like I
really
said, finding
good
that
to see.
balance because, like, I'm gonna be like 40 in no time or 35 in no time. Like, I don't want to be like 35, 36 and not having kids, or not even like tried for the kids. You know, like that would
Yeah,
because that's like, well, I've had that talk with Sinead, and like Sinead sacrificed a lot to be with me. Like
Yeah.
she could have walked out and gone and had kids with other people, or
Yeah.
had a family with other people. 'Cause that's what she's always wanted. That's what I've always wanted. But because the sport meant so much to me, she sacrificed. So it's for me. I always said to her, if I win Worlds, I need to give you something back,
yeah,
and this is me wanting to give her. So like that's I think you have to be fair. You know, you can't.
100%.
This sport, you can't like. You can't just be selfish for a strongman. You can't just go, right, I'm going to compete for the rest of my life and be scared that if you take a year off, you're never going to get invited to shows again.
Yeah,
Because look at Kletterkalk. I mean, he was injured, but he didn't come back till he was ready. And
Yeah.
what's that? Was it 2 years out or a year out?
yeah, like 18 months.
Yeah,
or
a year and a half
something,
out, and he's back at loose straight away, coming second. He'll be going
Yeah.
to Worlds, he'll be going to Giants. So it's like, you know, when you're known in the sport and you've proved that you're going to get invites again.
Yeah.
So he did the right thing, and now he's going to come back with a bang, you know. So
Yeah, hopefully not too much of a bang.
yeah,
Like,
but it's nice to have him back for it because he's been
It's
missed,
gonna
you know, and
be
it's
really
good that
good.
he's already back at like this, you know,
Yeah.
instead of like being back
and
down.
he's a phenomenal athlete
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Really good to see, and nails the sort of stuff that we've been on about with. Same as Novikov, actually. You know, like that professional procedural
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and that next, because people think it's really weird. Like you've won Worlds, Luke won Europe, so you've both done really well. But the first thing we do, even after winning Worlds, is like, right, what went wrong? What can we do better? Where's like, so yeah, you've won this year, but what, like, I think people get into a state of being like, I've won, I'm the best in the world, fuck everyone, I can do anything, and it's like you say, you're hunted now.
I think I
You're
wanted
the
that.
one.
I think I was like that for the
You
9-10 weeks after.
you got close to that. But it's like you can always improve.
Yeah,
Like, there's
yeah.
always ways to get better, and like you strict press a log still, fucking blows my
yeah.
mind.
But yeah, I mean, no, because you do get that after. Because obviously after World Strongest Man, your emotions are so high
Yeah,
that like you're like, well, I can do anything now because I'm the World Strongest Man. So that's why I kind of went on like a binge partied. Kind of went to like a Rangers Football Club, massive part of my life. Did a
Yeah.
lot with them. Met people that I thought I'd never meet. You know, did stuff I never thought I'd do. So it was like I just jumped on it with both hands. And then
Yeah.
Strongman was second. But like I said earlier, I could put Strongman second then because
you
I've
were
done what I
strongest
wanted
man.
to do. You know, like I didn't need to be 100% at Royal Albert Hall. I didn't need to turn up to like Giants in performance and think like, oh, I'm a bad strongman, because I know in my mind when I'm on it, like I proved at Glasgow, I'm on
Yeah.
it. You know, so
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's just exciting, man. Like there's so
Yeah,
much potential,
100%.
so much that can happen. So where I don't. So like with Rangers and stuff, you like they're such a big part of your life. Like, how does it feel with like players are asking for photos with you and stuff? Like it's
yeah. I mean, Rangers are always been a big part of my life. You know, from where you see like photos that people put, like Luke put up when I was a kid, I had the Rangers top on. Yeah, I've always been a mad Rangers fan. Always like love watching them. You know, when I was younger, I went to a few games, didn't go to as many. But then when I was able to go down on the bus myself,
yeah,
I go to loads of them. You know, and then obviously Strongman got into the way, but I would go when I could, and
yeah,
like I had that balance. You know, and then When I got second last year at Worlds, they said I went to Rangers afterwards, and they said to me, you know, if you win, we'll treat you good. You know, you're like, that would be a momentous title to have. And then I won it and got that legend status at like Rangers, you know, and like now I'm treated kind of like royalty there because of what I've done. Because you kind of think like when I went and met the players, I was kind of jaw dropped that I could meet Gerrard face to face, Jermaine Defoe, Alfredo, all these mental guys that I've watched, you know, for the last year win a title, you know, beating Celtic, won the title with 25 points. You're like, what the heck? But then they're like, big man, you're world's strongest man, yeah? Like, they were like,
they're buzzing to meet you.
And then, but then you see Rangers fans like Tom. They're just football players at the end of the day, you know. Like, they play for a mediocre side, and they're footballers. You've just done something that they'll never do in their life. You're like the Champions League or World Cup of football, you know. So when that goes in your head, you're like, geez, it's right, because these footballers are still good, but they're not done what anything I've done, you know. So and that's why they respect you. They ask like me for photos. They like contact me a lot as well. So it's nice to have that focus. For me, football fans are loyal to their guys, and that's why I'm so vocal about it. That's why you should never hide your true self. Like, if I had that I was a Rangers fan, I would be like, what the heck is this? Like, that's fake to me, you know. But like, you know, I had the Union Jack on. I go to Rangers games. I put out on Twitter like, you know, come on Rangers today and stuff. And every Rangers fan loves that, and that's why they back me. I've got so much support from them because of that, you know, that kind of support I've got. And I mean, Rangers are the biggest football club in the world. You know, their biggest supporter club is like that Isle of Harris, which is like an hour and a ferry up there. So, and I've been up there. They were mental up there before Worlds. It was like I was a hero. One Worlds, and like even when I go to games, it's like 2-3 hours of photos. But I like to do that because, like I said, I'm one of them up there on. They'll always protect me, Rangers, and the fans. Like, anything that happens that I do in Glasgow or I'll do across the world or whatever, they'll purchase stuff into me, you know. So it's really kind of nice to have that massive support. And like I said, football clubs are the best supports you can get. Like, there's no other bigger sport than football. You know, and like,
it's massive.
I mean, like, the Rangers fans are mental. Like, you know, they're like loyal to you. I mean, people were making Stoltman loyal flags down there. There was a lot of Rangers fans at Glasgow. So, and it was the best thing I've done, you know, like, not hiding about them. I went to a lot of Rangers games afterwards. I've been to a lot of games this season, but it's something I enjoy, you know. It's something that chills me out and makes me happy, going to watch the team I love, win or lose, and be like mixed with it makes me feel normal, like a normal person. I'm in with fans talking about football, not strongman. It's like I'm actually talking about, or people go like, oh, how's your lift, big man? And then we talk about football, we sing songs. Feels like I'm one of them, instead of just being like walking in the street and go, oh, big man, how's it feel to be in World or like,
you can talk
how's
about
it strongman? I'm talking about what I love, you know, out with strongman. So it's really nice that they make you feel like welcome. And even the guys like in the nice suites and stuff, when you walk up the stairs, they make you shake your hand. They're like, oh, big man, it's nice to see you again. Hope you're behaving and stuff, you know. So they always have time for you and crack jokes, which is a really nice kind of gesture to do, you know. They took Sinead in as well as part of like the Rangers family, so it's so nice that not just myself but me and Sinead can enjoy it together and do it. That's one of the things we actually can enjoy and not have to be like fake about it, you know. Like, we don't have to be strong on it. It's like, we're turning up, having fun with the fans, going home, you know. Like it's a childhood dream for me, you know. So
it's amazing to see as well, because you said like Luke had the picture of you when you were younger in the Rangers top, and you've always been open about being a fan, and then they're now a fan of you, and it's
it's mental, because you get like the legend, like everyone knows Paul Gascoigne, Ali McCoist, you know, like I've met Paul Gascoigne, he knew how I was. Ali McCoist reached out to me, you know. It's like
really fucking cool.
Stephen Gerrard, you know, I was saying Stephen Gerrard said hello to Sinead, hello to myself, knew who we were. So it's like, these are legends of football. These aren't just like normal people. These are guys like living legends of football clubs who don't need to bat an eye to you, but they do, you know. Like Albert's, like the 9-in-a-row boys that were successful, like the Barcelona days at Rangers. All these guys, like the legends back then, you're like, mention me in their stories and stuff, you're like, geez, oh, this is
That's
surreal.
really
And that's
cool.
why I love being a part of that, because it makes my fan base grow.
Yeah.
I'm loyal to them, they're loyal to me. You know, I do anything for Rangers. They do a lot for me as well, so yeah.
Do you think that, like, what's the most mind-blowing thing since Worlds then? Is it the being, like, welcomed into the football?
Yeah,
and getting all of
100%.
that?
I mean, like, I'm not going to lie, like, newspapers and like, the thing with newspapers and, like, media things is they're good, but they don't ever tell you the true story, like, the whole story. Like,
Yeah.
you say something, they mix the words up a lot, and, like, newspapers are newspaper. Like, I get interviewed by, like, the Daily Record, a lot of news companies all the time, so, I mean, they're cool. It's good to have some big companies like that, some big social media platforms and stuff, but it has to be Rangers. You know, like I said, it's my dream to do stuff with them, to be like hospitality with them, to just meet the players, to just be like kind of involved with them all, to like have people message me about them. It's cool just like winning World Struck, because the thing is of me is that Rangers won the league that the same year or the same month, I think it was. Yeah, that Ranger I won World, so it's kind of like a joint celebration. Like I said, I went down there with the trophy with my Rangers top
Yeah, the
on.
crowds were
As if,
unreal. Like,
I went out, I had the Rangers trophy in one hand, my World Stars Man trophy in one hand.
that's really cool.
So yeah, it was cool to be able to get, like I said, welcome into that. Whenever I go down, the players go, right, Tom, how you doing? You know, so yeah, by far, that was my biggest motivation. Was like I had that in the back of my mind for a whole year, that if I win Worlds, Rangers are going to introduce me and like make me a kind of part of the club, and that was my motivation to win Worlds. Was like, I've done that. Like, as soon as I said, I said, "Shit, that's as a Rangers kind of people now," and it was cool. I was a Rangers person.
Yeah.
Like, they gave me a few tickets for games, but they've done more than anything that I could possibly dream of. Like, people dream to be like hospitality and chairman suites and meet the players, but because I've done this, they're doing that for me, which is so cool to see. You know, I just have to message someone and they're like, right, we'll sort you this out. You know, come down, enjoy it. So it's really nice that these guys are so kind of open and loyal to like me as well. So
yeah, because you've shown that loyalty to them,
yeah.
and they're showing it back. So we'll get sort of close to wrapping it up, but so World's Strongest Man is your next main focus in terms of like winning Worlds, obviously Britain's Strongest Man coming up. What about, I don't want to say it in a harsh way, what about the proper Arnold? Where does that sit in terms of like, would you want to win Worlds and the Arnold in 1 year and be like, because I think to strongman fans, or like the hardcore, you know, like nerdy strongman fans, the Arnold's like a big trophy, you know, like the Columbus.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. I've like when Arnold's Columbus got cancelled, I was quite gutted because I was looking forward to it. But because I'm getting stately stronger now and bigger, you know, I think because I can put a lot of weight on and still. So yeah, I think that would be to win the Arnolds or even to podium on the Arnolds, because like I said, that's been more history. There's no been a Scottish. I don't think a Scottish guy's ever competed at the Arnold.
I don't think so. I wouldn't want to say definite, but I can't think of one.
Not in the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Of it. So
And
like,
it's only been 2007, 2008, the first one.
yeah, so I don't. Well, maybe not.
Yeah,
But like, I want to. Yeah, I would love to go there, kind of.
maybe earlier, but yeah,
Because like Big Z's, that's what he's got over like Brian Shaw stuff. Is he's won more Arnolds.
yeah, like loads of.
So I think I would like to even just win it once, or
Yeah,
at least like podium once on it.
yeah,
Because if I could podium on Arnold's or win it once, I'd be like, yeah, well, this is good. Like if I could win the Worlds again, podium or win Arnold's, that would be like a really cool year, you know.
yeah,
Because that would be like the two biggest kind of like units is big, but I think Arnold's and Worlds are the two.
yeah. I've always, in my head, like as a fan, I'd say the winner of World's Strongest Man is the best strongman in the world. The winner of the Arnold, maybe the strongest in the world.
Yeah.
You know, like in terms of like
Yeah, that's why Arnold's
pure
is cool, because
strength.
it's so heavy in it. And
Yeah, like 600 kilo yokes, and
you don't. It's not always the same winners, and it's people you don't expect because they're so
it's heavy,
strong and
it's
heavy,
hard.
it's heavy. So yeah, I would like to win it, but like I said, I take comp by comp and don't ever really look into the future. So like next comp is Britain's, so that's the main focus now.
Yeah,
Then we have a wee off season, recover,
Christmas.
Then we do.
Get,
Well, there's Britain's in February, but we don't know if I'm missing out or not. But World Strongman is the main goal for next. Yeah, and that's good how it start again because I don't have any comps to wiggle around and stuff.
We're just going for worlds. Yeah. So we'll sort of wrap it up, but I think it'd be fairly shit of us that you've got your social media is a big platform. People listen to this. People find this in weird ways. The top you're wearing now is sort of indicative of it. Like, if you're putting a message out there to that autistic kid whose teacher's being an arsehole to them, like, what's the thing you want? Like, if one kid listens to this, like...
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, like, if you're autistic and listen to this and stuff and you're getting judged, you know, never, like, listen to the people that are judging you. If there's any hurdles in your life, do what you can to, you know, go over them. If it takes you a year, if it takes you 2 years, never ever give up, because I did that. I gave up a lot, and looking back, I could have just found a way out of that kind of situation. And then use autism as your superpower. I think if you can get in your head that autism is a superpower, and then you can get over these hurdles, get past the people that are saying stuff to you. But if you first believe autism is a superpower, and then do the next steps, you'll go far in life. Because I say that a lot now to anyone. It's a superpower now. Kids be like, "Oh, Daddy, I've got a superpower. I'm the same as Tom Stoltman," you know. So, and that's really cool to hear. They're not autistic. They're not disabled. They've got a superpower. So, I think if kids can say, like, look at me and say, like Tom's got a superpower, I've got one. Let's do anything, you know. It's easy as that. And never listen to. I mean, it's maybe kids shouldn't. Let's say this. I shouldn't, but never really listens to teachers' opinions or people that aren't in your support circle. Listen to the people that actually care about you and know you and are guiding you in the right direction. Teachers don't guide you to, like, run your own business or like, if you want to be a footballer, go be one, you know. And teachers will probably try and stop you because they'll want you to do something that they'll favour them, you know. So, and that's for me is not good. So, you know, be it a superpower, have a support system where you can trust, you can talk to people and you can let everything out, and then just don't listen to the kind of bullies or the teachers that put you down and just jump over hurdles. Like, if it takes a year or 2 years, just keep doing it. So never give up. That's the most important. Never give up. So.
Yeah, man, that's really well put as well. I'm gonna put your social media stuff in the description, but it is fucking unlikely that anyone is listening to this who doesn't know who you are and follow you, and probably hasn't found this through you anyway. But I'll put it there. I'll put Stoltman Brothers stuff in there. Your YouTube channel is a mix between inspirational and fucking ridiculous, so it's always worth watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do stuff to make YouTube give me money. I want a Tesla. I'm building a race car, so, like, share it, do loads of stuff. But, mate, thank you for finally coming on, man. And and smile, stay safe, stay spicy.
Stay safe, smile, stay spicy.
Right, thank you, man.